And just for the public's sake, I would like to read the resolution. Angelina County Commissioners Court resolution, whereas Angelina County, Texas intends to make certain improvements to the Angelina County Airport. And whereas the general description of the project is described as a 600-foot extension of runway 725, including environmental assessment, property acquisition, and 30% engineering design. And whereas Angelina County intends to request financial assistance from the Texas Department of Transportation for these improvements. And whereas the total design and construction costs available is $5,140,232, and Angelina County will be responsible for the total project costs and will seek a 95% reimbursement from TxDOT. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Angelina County, Texas hereby directs County Judge Keith N. Wright to execute on behalf of the Angelina County at the appropriate time and with the appropriate authorizations of this governing body all agreements with the Texas Department of Transportation and such other parties as shall be necessary and appropriate for the implementation of the improvements to the Angelina County Airport. Any question? I see we'll have to go back and add signature blocks. Amy.
Motion to approve with the signature blocks added.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
You're the airport manager.
Airport manager.
How long have you been manager?
I've been manager 10 years here and about 4 months. So
Gotcha.
getting there. Yeah.
So I'm specifically talking today about the resolution that was approved at Commissioners Court. Can you kind of tell me what exactly that was about?
Yes, we've been trying to expand our runway to get bigger and bigger jets, trying to get the SFA jets in, taking sports team places, and then some of the bigger jets might stop in that's cross country, that kind of thing. We do have those type of jets land here, but a lot of times it has to be really good weather, and inclement weather, like if it's raining or something. They can fly in that, but they can't land here. Our runway's a little bit short, and so they have to maybe go to Tyler, Longview. They hear about our cafe, and so we do get big jets come in just to eat in the cafe. While they're here, they get fuel. While they're here, they get to see something about Angelina County, the city of Lufkin, and some of these other cities that we have around here. And in some cases, it's led to the development of restaurants and that kind of thing in the region. Yeah.
And, you were talking about the runway and how it's shorter now. How will extending it kind of improve that availability for bigger jets to be here?
Yeah, like in the last 2 weeks, we had 2 jets that called up that they were coming in, and we had the possibility of storm. And so they were just asking about our runway length and what type of asphalt we had, because in rain, they needed a full 6,000 for their type of jet that they were in. Pretty big, fast jets. And so we only have 5,400. As it turned out, they come in because the bad weather didn't get here. But it's the type of jet that we get all the time, like a Phenom 300. And so a lot of them land here. They're used by a company called NetJets that people can buy shares in the thing, and then they can fly them anywhere. So they buy so many hours in a year. They do that kind of thing. But a lot of the sports people do that, the golfers and people in individual sports. And so we get a lot of that. But we're trying to get to where we can service those jets in any weather.
We talked about the expansion, and I know that previously, earlier this year, we were trying to get some of the properties around here. Has there been any holdup with the property acquisition, or is that kind of all settled?
We haven't finished buying all the properties. We bought, right now, originally there were 15 properties, and we had bought 3 of those about 15 years ago in another the runway expansion. And right now, out of the 12 that there was left, we bought 7 of those. So there's five houses that we still need to buy. We're waiting on the finishing the environmental studies, uh, which are quite expensive and quite extensive.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of is related to some of this data center stuff. This is the kind of environmental thing that we're going through that they will have to go through,
Mm-hmm.
if the property hadn't already been through it. Pretty extensive.
I was going to ask you about the environmental assessment. What do they kind of look for in order to purchase acquisition like that?
There's several different things. They do cultural, where they look, okay, were there old farm places here? Is there graveyards on that from older generations? Was there some native people that lived in this area, or their burial grounds? And so they look for that. And then another group comes in and they look for plants on the endangered list and animals on the endangered list. And I think there was like 25 different animals they were looking for, uh, from the red cockaded woodpecker to other species. And then they have to check the water runoffs and how anything would affect that. Is the creek big enough that leave these grounds to handle what would be an increase? And I don't think we're going to have any increase really, because the land is already shaped the way we're going to leave it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be the same as it is now
Yeah.
without any change. But they've sort of completed that, so they're kind of wrapping up the environmental assessment
Okay. Do you know when that process started?
about 2 months ago. Yeah.
Gotcha. We talked earlier about the 20-year airport master plan. We reported on that in 2024. Where does
Okay.
it
Yeah.
kind of, where is it at right now?
This was in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
This runway expansion, and we've just wrapped up one of the projects that was on that, where they did a little taxiway move to make the field safer, and then also added on to another taxiway, and then there was an area that I think the asphalt on it was from 1964,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
so we've managed. It never had a base failure, and so we've been able to just put the oil stuff that they put on them to keep it going and keep it going and keep it going. But it was amazing that it held up as long as it did. But we did replace the top, and as it turned out, they got the top off of it and realized that the base from 1964 was still good, and so they just had to put new asphalt in.
There you go.
So it did save some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you hope this airport expansion kind of brings to Angelina County?
We're hoping that new companies that might skip over. So a lot of times these companies are looking for places to go. Like if they may contact the economic development or the chamber of commerce and be excited about the area, but then they check some of the facilities that Angelina County has or the city of Lufkin has, and to see if we can take a jet that they want to fly. All right, do we have an airport that can service their jet? If they have a break, this is important to them too. Do we have facilities that could help them with a problem that they have? Or will they be stuck here if they have a problem with their jet or with their King Air or with their business jet? What do we have for that?
That reminded me, at Commissioners Court, you were talking about the hangar prices going up,
Yeah,
and you said that you had a long wait list of people who wanted a hangar.
we do. Uh, I think we have 13 on a hanger wait list. Probably most of them, those are good names that we have, and I think that we have 2 private people that are wanting to build sets of T hangers, which they come in a set of 10 hangars built in the same building, so they take up 12,000 square feet or something like that. But we could definitely get them filled up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any doubt that we could. What we're looking at is getting the funding for this runway expansion done so that we can look at building some access taxiways for these folks that want to build can build.
Mm.
So we're looking for that. Our rates for our T hangars are probably below the market, but they are older buildings.
Mm.
However, they were built with good United States steel, so they're actually in real good shape. I was talking yesterday with a guy looking at maybe trying to paint those, blow that oxidized paint off of, give them a new look, see what that would cost. We have a grant that's called a rent grant, where we could spend up to 111,000, and they'll give us back 100.
Mm.
So
There you go.
this past year we got back $99,992.79.
Here
So
you
we
go.
so we almost got our 100,000 back.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, perfect.
we needed to change another light bulb or two.
The deal with TxDOT, what exactly would they be doing? Would they be repaving everything? Or
Well, what they do is we pick the engineers for whatever job, and then TxDOT will negotiate the price, uh, and then we go out for bids for the people to actually do the construction, and TxDOT actually picks those bids. If they can make a deal with the low bidder, they do that. But like this last job, we got the second lowest. As it turned out, the first lowest bidder had a really good contractor, but in the application they had failed to sign one of the pages, and they had to throw the bid out. So we got the second. They did a good job,
Mm.
and they come in last week and did the punch list and finished up the work.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you know the timeline on that resolution now that it's kind of been sent off, and how long it may take?
We're looking at the past July of next year for work to actually start. Now, before the work starts, they would have to be engineered. And so I would look for them as soon as they finish with the environmental and all the paperwork that associates with it, and it goes through TxDOT and the FAA, gets approved by them, then we'll be looking at the construction end. Now, we have been approved in fact, TxDOT has the money from the federal government, 4.88 million, but we don't get the money if we don't get the environmental passed, or if we don't get the construction started and the money actually put onto a project in a certain length of time. I think it's like August of next year that we have a deadline. The resolution was actually saying, okay, that, if they go through all this work to do all these things, that we are actually going to build the runway.
I got you.
Yeah. So that's what all that was about.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
those are all of my questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add on or just to say?
No, just come out sometime. We'll show you some of the new stuff we have. There's 4 new hangars that have been built over the last 3 or 4 months. I think y'all that did a story on a access taxiway we were building. We were calling it Taxiway K.
Mhm.
Well, now it's sitting there with 3 hangars finished and 1 in the process. So
Making process, moving along.
got companies coming.
Yeah.
That's all we need. A little infrastructure, and the city and the county, they do grow. And of course, a lot of these companies, are Corrigan and Diboll, and we land bigger jets than Nacogdoches does. So we have people that go to Nacogdoches to do business. So
Mhm.
or out to Huntington. There's been a lot of business expansion in Huntington. When we get those people coming in from McDonald's, or Burger King, or Whataburger, or all these companies that are in town, these restaurant companies, they all make a trip.
And then it
So-
can benefit the airport.
Yeah, benefits the airport. The main thing we look at is our economic output. is what we get to see. And I've seen the preliminary numbers, but they're not final until October. But we're expecting a big increase from the last time, and that's what I look at. That's my main, and that's what the economic development people look at, and the county. They look at business creation. Yeah. So
Perfect.
we'll do a story.